Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Deepika, and coming up in the next 1 hour. India's former Prime Minister and face of 1991 economic reforms, Manmohan Singh, passes away at 92. 7-day national mourning announced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls him one of India's most distinguished leaders. India's President Draupadi Murmu leads the nation in mourning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he left strong imprint on economic policy. US lauds his contribution in firming up US-India strategic partnership. South Korea's opposition files an impeachment motion against acting President Han Sun-duk-so. Vote in favor of 3 nominees of Constitutional Court judges. 6 people killed as Israel strikes Houthi targets in Yemen, including at Sana'a airport, where WHO chief was about to board the plane. UN chief calls Israeli strikes alarming. And in cricket, Indian players wear black armbands to mourn the loss of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Bowlers' hunt for wicket continues on day 2 of the ongoing India versus Australia Boxing Day test. Manmohan Singh, India's former Prime Minister, who was also known as the architect of India's economic liberalisation, passed away on Thursday. He breathed his last at the AIIMS hospital in New Delhi's emergency ward after being in critical condition. Dr. Manmohan Singh retired from the Rajya Sabha in April 2024. And despite his age-related illness, Singh attended some sessions of the parliament in a wheelchair, a rare display of dedication by the 92-year-old academician and economic strategist. Manmohan Singh, a pioneering economic administrator, statesman, and India's third longest-serving Prime Minister, passed away at the age of 92. A towering figure in India's public life, his remarkable journey from humble beginnings to shaping the nation's economic and political landscape will be remembered for generations to come. Born on the 26th of September in the year 1932 in a village in Punjab province of undivided India, Singh excelled in studies despite limited resources. He won a place at Cambridge University before heading to Oxford, earning a doctorate with a thesis on the role of exports and free trade in India's economy. His book, India's Export Trends and Prospects for Self-Sustained Growth, was an early critique of India's inward-oriented trade policy. His academic credentials were burnished by his years on the faculty of Punjab University and the prestigious Delhi School of Economics. In the year 1971, Singh joined the Government of India as an economic advisor in the Commerce Ministry. This was soon followed by his appointment as the Chief Economic Advisor in the Ministry of Finance in 1972. Among the many governmental positions that Manmohan Singh occupied were the Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Advisor of the Prime Minister, and Chairman of the University Grants Commission. Dr. Singh leaves behind a legacy of economic achievements by contributing to ushering in economic reforms across the country. Singh spent 5 years between 1991 and 1996 as India's finance minister. When he took charge as a finance minister, the country was reeling under fiscal deficit, balance of payment deficit, as well as falling foreign exchange reserves. But he insisted on many reforms like privatization of public sector undertakings, opening up the skies, and easing export-import rules. He ensured more disposable income in the hands of the middle class so that they could spend more. Ease of doing business was his focus, and slowly India emerged out of the fiscal crisis and deficit. Dr. Singh never won the Lok Sabha elections. He was nominated to the Rajya Sabha for the first time by the Congress Party in October 1991, 4 months after he became the Union Finance Minister. He represented Assam for 5 terms in the Rajya Sabha and shifted to Rajasthan in 2019. His last term that ended in April this year. He was the Prime Minister for 2 successive terms from 2004 till 2009. One of the biggest highlights of Singh's regime was securing the India US civil nuclear agreement that opened up civilian nuclear cooperation. Manmohan Singh led the UPA government delivered about 8.5% GDP growth. The two UPA regimes led by Manmohan Singh are credited with the launch of social welfare initiatives such as guaranteed job schemes, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee, and the right to education for every child. Reforms, including direct benefit transfer and national identity number Aadhaar, were also launched during Manmohan Singh's term as the Prime Minister. Dr. Manmohan Singh's years as Prime Minister were, however, marred with scams like 2G, CWG, and coal block allocations. Despite the leak hiccups, Singh's image as a clean leader remained untarnished. He will be remembered as the architect of India's tryst with economic liberalization and sustained economic growth. Bureau Report, DD India.
India has announced a 7-day period of national mourning following the death of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. All government programs scheduled for Friday have now been cancelled. National mourning of 7 days is also declared. Cabinet is all set to meet at 11 a.m. to mourn, and the last rites will be conducted with full state honours of the former Prime Minister. And India paying rich tribute to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday night. Cutting across parties, leader after leader described Singh's passing as a loss to the nation, hailing him as one of its most distinguished leaders. President of India Draupadi Murmu paid tribute to former Prime Minister, highlighting his role in transforming India's economy through his various public service positions. And sharing memories on X, Vice President condoled Dr. Singh's demise and said that India has lost a leader of towering intellect and a statesman par excellence. His legacy will forever guide Bharat's growth trajectory. And in a social media post, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared photographs of his meeting with Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he also wrote, I quote him here, India mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished leaders, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji. Rising from humble origins, he rose to become a respected economist. He served in various government positions as well, including as finance minister, leaving a strong imprint on our economic policy over the years. His interventions in the parliament were also insightful. As a prime minister, he made extensive efforts to improve people's lives, unquote. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge also mourned the loss of a lifelong senior colleague, Dr. Manmohan Singh. On social media platform X, he wrote that with the passing of the former Prime Minister, India has lost a visionary statesman, a leader of unimpeachable integrity, and an economist of unparalleled stature, unquote. And now I'm joined by DD India correspondent Anil Thomas with more details. Anil, tributes are continuously pouring in and 7 days national mourning has also been declared. Fill us in with more details on this.
Well, good morning. As we reach the fag end of the year, this particular news actually is shaking up, India and also the world, especially a distinguished life that the late Dr. Manmohan Singh has led, the man who is credited for liberalizing India. Just as we were reaching the fag end of the year, many magazines have written about, how Dr. Manmohan Singh, especially the role that he played, especially when, India had close to $1 million left in its reserves, and the man who opened up the purse or who liberalized India, who changed the way India looked at the world and opened its markets. And that's how, the Indian liberalization, if you look at papers, newspapers across the nation, one headline, one word that would be symbolic or would represent Dr. Manmohan Singh has been the man who liberalized India. And I think that's what takes this man forward. Cutting across party lines, we've seen, leader after leader talking about it. Leave that aside. From the world, big leaders have all condoled his death. And I think that's the imprint that he leaves to the world, especially the 2008 global recession that the world faced. Manmohan Singh had a great role to play in that, especially when it comes to guiding the world in getting out of it. I think that's where, the world salutes Manmohan Singh, a man who was silent, sober, but yet very impressive with his work. And I think that's the footprint that a man leaves behind, a legacy that he leaves behind. He remembers, he spoke about it time and again, that, my work, my deeds, you will remember it. And I hope you would be a bit more sympathetic and a bit more understanding to the vision that I had for India and the world.
And also, we can see President of India and Prime Minister of India leading the nation in condoling the demise, remembering Dr. Manmohan Singh for his strong imprint on India's economic policy over the years that you also mentioned right now. Take us, Anil, through some of the major highlights during his tenure that made a remarkable imprint on India's economy when we talk about it from global point of view.
Well, let's look at very simply the journey that started in 1972, right from becoming a part of the, finance ministry, then becoming a finance secretary, an RBI governor, a finance minister, and then moving to the planning commission, and finally taking the chair of the prime minister in 2004. Leading the nation for almost, for exactly 10 years there. And, though always purely in terms of his work, if you look at, many of the achievements that he has done purely as a prime minister, they are memorable. If one takes a look at Manrega, the right to information, or for that matter, important, especially the Forest Act, the SEZ projects that he cleared. SEZ was something that came under his regime as a prime minister. If not that, at least the Food Security Act, the Land Acquisition Act, have all been important landmark decisions that have come under his prime ministership. And I think that's what the world remembers. Not only that, I did make a mention about the global recession and the advice that he gave to the world, especially in 2008. He stands out on many fronts, especially when it comes to the work that he's done. India's first ballistic missile that was fired under his regime. Even when he was the prime minister and the cabinet decision, it was the first time that we saw a women president being elected in the UPA regime, and Pratibha Devi Singh Patil becoming the president of India. So all in all, it's been a great journey that Dr. Manmohan Singh has had, especially as a leader. Purely in terms of the work that he's delivered, he's never been a vociferous speaker, especially when it comes to his work. But he has made time and again mention that many people have questioned my intentions, especially when it comes to a prime minister, has, taking names in various forms that I am Manmohan Singh and all that. But then he's kept his chin up and delivered as a prime minister when it comes to work being done and when it comes to pen on the paper. And I think that's what, makes him different, and that's what makes him a great person to look forward to. And I think the respect that the world is showering on the Prime Minister, the late Prime Minister's demise, Manmohan Singh, clearly indicates that, this man has done something good. Remember, when you are remembered, especially when you pass away, all the work that you've done suddenly becomes glorified. But I think Manmohan Singh has left a deep imprint, a deep footprint, especially for the people of India, cutting across party lines. Not only that, but also across the world, especially with the work that he has done.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Anil, for joining us and reviving those important memories, those important highlights of India's economic reform. Thank you. Now, condolences have also poured in from across the globe following the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Leaders from neighboring countries, including the US, Maldives and Afghanistan, expressed deep grief over his passing, highlighting his contribution and warm relation with their nations. The United States offered its condolences, with Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying that Dr. Manmohan Singh was one of the greatest champions of the India-US strategic partnership. Former President of Afghanistan, Hamid Karzai, in a post on X said that India has lost one of its most illustrious sons, calling him an unwavering ally and friend to the people of Afghanistan. Former Maldivian President Mohammad Nasheed wrote on X that he found the former Prime Minister as a benevolent father figure and a good friend of Maldives. Russian ambassador to India, Denis Elipov, said that the passing away of Dr. Manmohan Singh is a moment of poignant sorrow and grief for India and Russia. And now my colleague Dr. Lipakshi Khurana joins us for a newspaper review on how the media is observing the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Over to you, Dr. Lipakshi.
Yes, Deepika, thank you. All the papers have given bold headlines on the former Prime Minister and his demise as he leaves a deep footprint here. The Times of India talks about the man who liberated India's dreams. It says in 1991, with India staring into an economic abyss, Manmohan Singh as finance minister transformed its policies and fortunes. If India now sits at the high table of nations, a lot of the credit goes to his great liberalization. In 2004, he was again brought in from the blue as Prime Minister, and the first 5 years of which will be remembered far more favorably than the next 5. Also, Times of India on the top quotes Manmohan Singh in 1991, and it says, "A finance minister has to be hard-headed, but I promise that in dealing with the people of India, I shall be soft-headed. I shall never forget that ultimately all economic processes are meant to serve the interest of our people." Also, the next paper, Indian Express, which says Dr. Singh walks into history. It says he opened India to the world, set stage for seat at global high table. It also carries a caricature of Dr. Singh which says Super Manmohan. It also says a foundation of new India to be set, he said, before 1991 budget. The paper also says as Prime Minister ended India's nuclear winter, graft shadow clouded the second term. The next paper, Business Standard, it also says the architect of economic reforms, and it has a picture of Dr. Manmohan Singh. It says Prime Minister from 2004 to 2014, Union Finance Minister from 1991 to 1996, and RBI Governor 1982 to 1985. And it also says at the corners that a man with few parallels. The Asian Age also has him covered on the headlines. It says, "Architect of India's economic reforms dies." It also quotes the Congress leader, and it says, "Voice of sanity and grace lost in troubled times." Next, The Hindu says, "Nation mourns former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, the economist ruler credited with liberalization." It details how he passed away. He passed away at AIIMS on Thursday, and President Draupadi Murmu described Singh as one of the greatest sons of Bharat. Modi, it says, as Prime Minister, Singh made extensive efforts to improve people's lives, and it says government functions cancelled and 7-day national mourning declared. It also says Dr. Manmohan Singh, it says a lasting imprint on India's external relations, and it says a forthright finance minister who effected social change. Next is Mint, which says India's reforms trailblazer Manmohan Singh no more, and it says as economist, finance minister and prime minister, Singh set the long-term direction in India. It clearly says an end of an era. And it also says that for 2 consecutive terms from 2004 to 2014, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's growth and economy. Last, the Hindustan Times also says the great liberalization. The great liberalizer, it says former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who opened India to the world as finance minister before helming the US nuclear deal and a series of key legislation in the top office for 2 terms, dies of age-related illnesses at 92. So all the papers have immensely covered Dr. Manmohan Singh and his demise, who of course left a very deep imprint on India and the world.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Lipakshi, for joining us and bringing us a quick review of how the print lines are covering the great loss of the Indian economic reformer. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Russia welcomed Slovakia's proposal to host peace talks with Ukraine. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres calls on Mozambique's political leaders to diffuse tensions.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, in the latest escalation in the conflict, Israel struck multiple targets linked to Houthis in Yemen, including Sana'a International Airport, leaving at least 6 people dead. In addition to striking the airport, the Israeli military said it also targeted military infrastructure at ports on Yemen's west coast and 2 power stations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue its mission until it was complete. Defense Minister Katz added that Israel will continue attacking Houthis to remove threats to the state of Israel.
We have just seen a precise operation by the Israeli Air Force hitting specific Houthi targets in Yemen at the airport, at the port. As we said, whoever hurts Israel, we will hurt him. We will hunt down all the Houthi leaders, hit them as we have done elsewhere. No one will be able to escape Israel's long measure. We will attack them in order to remove threats to the state of Israel.
Israel's retaliatory strikes comes as Houthis have repeatedly attacked the country with drones and missiles since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. Meanwhile, the head of the UN's World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, said he and his colleagues were traveling through Yemen's Sana'a airport on Thursday when it came under attack. In a post on social media platform X, Tedros said that the airstrike hit as he and his colleagues were due to board a flight from Sana'a airport. The United Nations has expressed concerns over Israel's latest airstrikes in Yemen, warning of further regional escalation, with the spokesperson of UN Chief Antonio Guterres saying that the airstrikes on Yemen's Sana'a International Airport, the Red Sea ports and power stations were particularly alarming.
The Secretary General remains deeply concerned about the risk of further escalation in the region and reiterates his call for all parties concerned to cease all military actions and to exercise utmost restraint. He also warns that airstrikes on Red Sea ports and Sana'a Airport pose grave risks to humanitarian operations at a time when millions of people are in need of life-saving assistance.
On to the Russia-Ukraine conflict update now. President Vladimir Putin said Russia welcomes Slovakia's proposal to host peace talks with Ukraine, emphasizing Moscow's commitment to resolving the conflict.
As for the place for talks, yes, Fico said if it comes to negotiations, they would be happy to provide their own country as a platform for such negotiations. We are not opposed if it comes to that. Why not? Since Slovakia takes a neutral position. In our opinion, this position is neutral and Slovakia as host for talks is an acceptable option for us.
Meanwhile, both the nations continue strikes on each other. Russian drones struck a multi-story apartment building in the frontline town of Chasiv Yar in Donetsk region of Ukraine on Thursday. 2 people were killed and 2 were injured in the strike. Regional officials in the Dnipropetrovsk region said a drone strike on the market in the town of Nikopol injured 8 people on Thursday morning. The Ukrainian military said it shot down 20 drones launched by Russia overnight. Now, Putin added that Russia was striving to complete the conflict in Ukraine and could use more powerful intermediate-range weapons if necessary.
Если нужно будет, мы увидим, что
If necessary, if we see that more powerful intermediate range weapons are required, we will of course use them. We have them, and not just one system, but we are in no hurry to use them because these weapons are powerful. They are designed to solve specific problems. We have started serial production. Now we will produce the required and necessary quantity. We will place some on the territory of Belarus. We act systematically, but we do not exclude the possibility of using them both today and tomorrow if there is such a need.
произведем.
Now, South Korea's political crisis is far from over as the main opposition party introduced a bill to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo on Thursday. Now, the decision came after Han announced that he will not appoint justices to the Constitutional Court. The voting will be held on Friday, and this move could deepen the country's constitutional crisis triggered by a short-lived martial law. Here's more.
South Korea's opposition on Thursday claimed that they filed an impeachment motion against acting President Han Duck-soo, and they will hold a vote on Friday. Leaders accused President Han of obstructing the constitutional process to remove his predecessor, President Yoon Suk-yeol, from the office. The decision came after Han announced that he will not appoint justices to the Constitutional Court until the rival parties agree for a political compromise.
Prime Minister Han Duck-soo officially announced that he would not appoint a Constitutional Court judge, which is his constitutional duty. His statement effectively acknowledges himself not as an acting authority, but as an acting authority of treason.
The opposition Democratic Party had threatened to impeach President Han if he does not appoint 3 justices to fill the vacancies at the Constitutional Court. Parliament voted in favor of 3 nominees on Thursday, but they have yet to be formally appointed by Han. However, South Korea's ruling People Power Party urged the opposition party to stop its attempts to impeach acting president.
The Democratic Party's deluge and tsunami of impeachments has now gone beyond paralyzing the government to completely devastating state affairs. What the Democratic Party seeks to impeach today is not the acting president Han Duck-soo, but the government itself, the livelihoods of the public, diplomacy, and South Korea.
South Korea fell in a political crisis when President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law on 3rd December. Yoon was stripped of his duties by Parliament on 14th December over the dramatic declaration. But a constitutional court ruling upholding the decision by lawmakers is necessary to complete the impeachment process. The court is, however, currently short of 3 judges. While it can go ahead with its 6 members on the bench, and a single dissenting vote would reinstate Yoon. At the same time, if the impeachment motion passed on Friday, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok would step in as acting president. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.
And Amit Mukherjee joins us with more details on this. Good morning, Amit. Now, South Korea's acting president faces impeachment vote, a new political twist. Tell us the reasons and the repercussions pertaining to this latest development.
Well, Deepika, basically the escalating row over the appointment of, it's basically a 9-judge bench that is supposed to decide on the impeachment that has been executed by the Assembly of South Korea. 2/3 majority was required to impeach President Yoon, and this was actually done the vote of 204 votes in favor of the impeachment process out of the Assembly of 300 members. So the impeachment process, as far as the Parliament is concerned, has been executed. But to formalize it, of course, you need the court of the South Korea, which is headed by a 9-judge bench, that is going to formalize this process. Now, the thing is, as you pointed out in the story, that there are 6 judges, and the constitution of this court is still not complete. And it was the duty of as the opposition says, it was the duty of the acting president Han Duck-soo to appoint the 3 judges bench, the 3 judges which are currently not there. in the entire constitution as far as the bench is concerned. So that is one of the brows that is actually triggering the crisis further. Besides the fact that President Yoon has also refused to turn up before the investigating authorities, the prosecutors who are actually conducting the entire judicial process, which is required, to be conducted in 180 days, and pass an order by the court as to whether President Yoon will be reinstated or his impeachment stands, endorsed. So these are all the political situation which is now leading to a crisis right now in South Korea, and we'll have to see. The opposition is now alleging that this is a deliberate attempt by the acting president of South Korea, Han Duck-soo, to kind of stop the impeachment of President Yoon, his predecessor.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Amit, for joining us and bringing us the latest on the developing story. Now, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged Mozambique's political leaders to ease tensions that led to civil unrest linked to October's disputed election. Now, a recent prison riot in country's capital, Maputo, resulted in 33 dead and 15 injuries, while Mozambique's top court decision on Monday confirming long-ruling party Frelimo's victory in the election sparked fresh nationwide protest by opposition groups and their supporters who claimed the vote was rigged. The UN chief spokesperson said in a press briefing that the Secretary General is concerned about the post-election violence, which has resulted in loss of lives and the destruction of public and private property.
The Secretary General is concerned about the post-election violence which has resulted in loss of lives and the destruction of public and private property. He urges all political leaders and relevant national stakeholders to diffuse tensions, including through meaningful dialogue, legal redress, refrain from the use of violence, and redouble efforts to seek a peaceful resolution to the ongoing crisis in a constructive manner, which is essential to the collective future of Mozambicans.
We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and discussed current regional and global developments. And up next, we give you latest updates on changing weather patterns across the world.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. It's now time to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. India's former Prime Minister and face of 1991 economic reforms, Manmohan Singh, passes away at the age of 92. 7-day national mourning announced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls him one of India's most distinguished leaders. President Draupadi Murmu leads the nation in mourning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he left strong imprint on economic policy. The US lauds his contribution in firming up US-India strategic partnership. South Korea's opposition files an impeachment motion against acting President Han Duck-soo. Vote in favor of 3 nominees of Constitutional Court judges. 6 people killed as Israel strikes Houthi targets in Yemen, including at Sana'a airport, where WHO chief was about to board the plane. UN chief calls Israeli strikes alarming. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is visiting the United States, where he met the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and discussed current regional and global developments. Taking to X, the minister said he had a wide-ranging discussion on the progress of the India-US strategic partnership with Jake Sullivan during his meeting in Washington, D.C. Moving on, India's national capital witnessed widespread rainfall on the wee hours of Friday morning, bringing a noticeable drop in temperatures and intensifying the winter chill. Indian Meteorological Department stated that the lowest recorded temperature is 12 degrees Celsius. With dipping temperatures, people are advised to brace for colder nights ahead. The air quality of New Delhi was also improved by the rain. Meanwhile, the Indian Met Department has issued a yellow alert for multiple districts of Maharashtra, indicating possibilities of thunderstorms and light to moderate rainfall from the 26th till the 28th of December. It also forecasted that cloudy weather conditions will subside from the 29th of December, bringing clear skies to Maharashtra. Now, with dry weather and the return of northerly cooler winds, temperatures are expected to drop significantly, setting a chilly tone for the new year across the state. A layer of fog engulfed Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj city as the temperature dips to 14 degrees Celsius. The Indian Met Department said thunderstorms along with lightning are likely to occur at isolated places over West UP. People were seen sitting by a bonfire and take shelter in night homes in the city to keep themselves warm. Indeed, India correspondent Siddharth joins us with more. Siddharth, weather in the national capital has changed this morning and it's been raining since almost 4 a.m. local time. Tell us what does the IMD prediction says and how is it affecting the daily life, Siddharth?
Well, definitely. First of all, a very good morning to you, Deepika. And, these showers, since the early morning has also added to the chill in the weather. But, it didn't come as a surprise, Deepika, because IMD had already predicted that on December 27th and 28th, the heavy showers, in fact, are expected. And IMD had also, in fact, said, Deepika, that, hailstorm is also expected, because of the western disturbance in the northwestern region of the country. And, if I talk about the daily life, then definitely, it has somewhere disturbed the daily lives of the people, especially the office goers who use public transport. It's having a little difficulty for them to actually go out of their houses and, get the public transport. So yeah, definitely it has disrupted daily routine life. But yeah, it was predicted by the IMD that the temperature will fall, and definitely the heavy showers are expected. In fact, according to the IMD prediction, Deepika, then the temperature will likely to see 20 degrees Celsius as the high temperature, and low temperature, if I talk about, then it is somewhere around 13 degrees Celsius. So yeah, showers in the morning has already added chill, but air quality, somewhat remains in the very poor category. And if I talk to you about the very poor category, Deepika, then from 301 to 400 AQI is considered as very poor category. So yeah, earlier it was severe, but now it's in the very poor category. A slight improvement in the AQI, but it's still not as good as it is expected to be. Light shower has added to the chill. Somewhere people are also having trouble. People, seeking shelter because of the temperature,
Right.
and also the daily goers, office goers especially, and all other people also who are going to their businesses, offices. They are expecting little. They are experiencing little trouble. Also, these showers because add to the traffic jams as well on the roads. Because we all drive and we see that when the showers take place, these light showers happen. There's a traffic jam on the road, so it usually takes lots and lots of time, to reach the offices. Suppose if it takes around like 20-25 minutes to reach office on a usual day, then on these showers it usually takes about 45 to 50 minutes. So yeah, definitely people have to plan their time as well when they're going to offices. And
Right.
also, this is also a part of the daily life, which is disrupted by the light showers. The chill in the air has increased, and in the further days, in the coming days, we'll also experience some more chilly days as well. So yeah, BIMB has also predicted, also said people to brace for the unusual weather in the coming days. And as of now, like I also mentioned, the maximum temperature will be around 20 degrees Celsius, and minimum temperature will be 13 degrees Celsius. Light showers will continue. This is 27th of December. 28th December is also was predicted by the IMD that the showers will take place. Heavy showers will take place, and hailstorm, mind you, is also expected, as per the IMD had said a few
right.
days ago. Deepika.
All right. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us and bringing us the latest update on changing weather conditions. Now, let's take a look at the latest weather updates from around the world. From severe storms in the U.S. Pacific Northwest to volcanic activity in Hawaii, here's what's happening. A relentless series of atmospheric rivers is slamming the U.S. Pacific Northwest with strong winds, heavy snowfall and coastal flooding. Avalanche warnings and travel advisories are in effect, with holiday plans likely disrupted. The severe weather is expected to persist further before calming after Sunday. In Hawaii, satellite images reveal the spread of lava around Kiliola's crater following its eruption on the 22nd of December. While lava flows have diminished, the U.S. Geological Survey warns of potential resumption in its activity. The volcano remains under orange alert as volcanic gases pose ongoing risks. Moving on, in Peru, a 90-day environmental emergency has been declared after a crude oil spill near the Talara refinery. Approximately 10,000 square meters of ocean water and 7 beaches have been contaminated, damaging wildfire and halting local fishing. Cleanup efforts are underway to restore the affected area and mitigate the impact. Now, Azerbaijan set up a special commission and sent its delegation to investigate the causes and all the details of the plane crash that took place in Kazakhstan. Following the incident, President Aliyev returned home from Russia, where he had been due to attend a summit of CIS countries' leaders on Wednesday. On Thursday, Azerbaijan observes day of mourning for victims of passengers' plane crash. 14 Azerbaijani citizens who survived the plane crash near Akhtau in Kazakhstan arrived in Baku on Thursday. 7 of the survivors were transported to the hospitals by ambulances. Another 7 injured and the bodies of 4 victims were arrived to Baku on second plane. The rest of the Azerbaijani citizens who survived the crash will remain in Kazakhstan, where they will undergo medical treatment. And day after Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed near the Kazakh city of Akhtau, social media footage showed holes visible in the wreckage of the area. Among those who were on board were 16 Russians, 37 Azerbaijani citizens, 6 Kazakh and 3 Kyrgyz citizens. RT correspondent Marina Kusuriva gets us more. Take a look.
Mixed reports on what caused the crash. Some said that it was weather conditions, it was fog, and others reported that it was a collision with a flock of birds. But then there are more conspiracy-like, more extreme conclusions, because footage came out showing holes of unknown origin on the exterior of the plane, and that made people question and disregard the first more commonly talked about causes. Now, we have heard from former U.S. Army officer Stanislav Krapivnik, who explained that those holes could be rocks. Now, he says that if they hit the turbine, they could damage the main body of an aircraft. He also ruled out the drones. He explained that they do not fly at the same altitude nor speed as planes, so that doesn't make sense. And he also ruled out 2 missile systems, saying that they would leave a longer trail. On the other hand, though, he proposed that it could be something else.
What's coming out now is people are saying while they were still in the air, they heard a boom, that part of the wing and part of the fuselage ripped off as the plane was coming down. Obviously, that's not going to be bird damage. And additionally, there were people taking videos in the plane as they were coming down, showing holes in airbags in other parts of the plane. That points to, since the plane was already landing, that points to a possible man pad, which is a shoulder-fired missile. Stinger, for example, is a prime example. So, in my opinion, if that happened as the plane is coming down, it may have been somebody firing a man pad as the plane was coming down. That wouldn't take a lot of people. That could be a one-man job. That could be a 2-man team. That's not a large asset. That's something that you can throw in the back of your car on the back seat and then pull it out and shoot it. If that's the case, we're entering a whole new era of terrorism.
In other news, Finnish authorities seized the Russian-owned ship Eagle S in the Baltic Sea on Thursday, suspecting it caused a major disruption to critical infrastructure. The ship, believed to belong to Russia's Shadow fleet, allegedly damaged 4 undersea cables, 2 fiber optic links between Finland and Estonia, a third to China, and 1 connecting Finland to Germany. Authorities say an anchor from the Eagle S may be responsible for the damage, leading to the outage of the S-Link 2 power cable. The outage raises concerns about power supply during winter. NATO and the US are closely monitoring the situation, underscoring the importance of international cooperation to safeguard vital undersea infrastructure. And tragedy struck Sydney to Hobart yacht race on Friday, with 2 sailors killed in separate incidents, marking the first fatalities in the prestigious race since 1998. Both the sailors were struck by the sail boom, a horizontal pole that controls the sails and swings with the wind. New South Wales police confirmed the first death occurred just before midnight when a crew member on one boat was hit by the sail boom. Despite efforts to perform CPR, the sailor could not be saved. Hours later, another crew member from a different vessel was also killed in a similar accident. The boats involved were identified as Flying Fish, Arctos and Bowline. We are heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Manchester City draws against Everton at the Etihad Stadium in their Premier League encounter. And former world number 1 Simona Halep to skip upcoming Australian Open tournament.
(2024), the year the world woke up to climate's harsh realities and powerful progress. Let's explore the stories that shaped the year 2024. The Amazon, the parts of the North America burned brighter than ever this year. With wildfire and catastrophic weather on the rise, are we prepared for what's next? India's energy transition is inspiring the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that 2024 has been a year of immense climate challenges, but also of remarkable progress.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now this year, the 27th of December marks the 227th birth anniversary of legendary Urdu poet Mirza Ghalib. The poet's works still resonate with a plethora of literature and poetry enthusiasts. More in this report by DD India's Santra Sinha. Take a look.
This is Gari Qasim Jan in Old Delhi's Balli Maran. And this is the mansion where Mirza Ghalib, the legendary Urdu poet, stayed for the last years of his life. As he said, "Ye dunya jism hai aur Dilli uski jaan." That is, the world is the body and Delhi is its soul.
The simple verses written on these walls are as relevant today as they were during Ghalib's time. हाथों की लकीरों पे मत जाए गालिब, किस्मत उनकी भी होती है जिनके हाथ नहीं होते. That is, do not go by the lines on the palm of your hand, Ghalib. Luck is bestowed even on those who do not have hands. Even after 155 years of his death, the lines continue to inspire and hold everyone in an awe of the great poet. Works by various musicians and celebrated Hindi cinema lyricists, including Gulzar, have been greatly inspired by Ghalib. Legendary ghazal maestro late Jagjit Singh formed a memorable partnership with Gulzar to make one of the most iconic TV series on the late poet. Mirza Ghalib aired on Doordarshan National in 1988 and it was an instant hit with the audiences. Scores of literature enthusiasts continue to visit the Ghalib Ki Haveli in the heart of Old Delhi. This 19th century Haveli was gifted to Ghalib by a physician named Hakim and served as the poet's home from 1860 until his death in 1869. A renovated portion of this Haveli is now a museum showcasing Ghalib's life and works. The museum features various artifacts including handwritten poems, books and personal belongings of the poet. Hailing from Agra, Ghalib belonged to a family of nobles and was educated in Persian, Arabic, and Urdu. This year, the 27th of December, marks his 227th birth anniversary. Ghalib's poetry is considered some of the most iconic and influential in Urdu literature. His poetry explored themes of love, spirituality, social issues, and the human condition. Mirza Ghalib's life, works, and legacy continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world.
हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमा, लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले. Urdu enthusiasts and Urdu literature enthusiasts must be familiar with these lines by Ghalib. These mean thousands of desires of mine, each worth dying for. Many of them I have realized, yet I yearn for more. With camera person Kumara Datta, this is Antara Sinha for DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. To begin with cricket first, Indian players are sporting black armbands to mourn the loss of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh on day 2 of the ongoing Boxing Day test at Melbourne Cricket Ground. Well, Australia were bowled out for 474 in their first innings on the second day of the fourth test on Friday, with Steve Smith making 140. Smith made his 34th test century before a bizarre dismissal, with the ball bouncing off his pads as he danced down the pitch and trickling onto leg stump to dislodge a bail. Paceman Jasprit Bumrah was the pick of the bowlers with 4 for 99, while spinner Ravindra Jadeja took 3 for 78. Earlier on day 1, Australia reached 311 runs for the loss of 6 wickets at stumps, which were aided by teenage opener Sam Constance, who stole the show on his debut, blasting 60 off 65 balls. And Indian women aim for a 3-0 clean sweep against West Indies as they gear up for the third and final ODI. Women in blue have already secured the 3-match ODI series with an unassailable 2-0 lead. Smriti Mandhana has been in exceptional form as she scored her 6th consecutive 50. Indian squad also includes Harleen Deol, who made her maiden international century, and debutant Pratik Rawal, who showed great determination. The fast bowling attack, led by Renuka Singh Thakur with support from Saima Thakur and Tita Sadhu, has also impressed. Meanwhile, West Indies will look forward to finish the series strongly with limited positives from the previous matches, including Hayley Matthews' century. In soccer, Manchester City continue to struggle as they managed 1-1 draw against lowly Lied Everton at the Etihad Stadium in their Premier League encounter. Bernardo Silva scored early to put City in front, but Limat Netiae equalised. In the second half, City missed a golden opportunity to seal the victory as Erling Haaland's penalty was saved. Winners of the last 4 Premier League titles, the English champions have won just once in their last 13 games across all competitions. City's boss Pep Guardiola has conceded that his side are at risk of failing to qualify for the Champions League for the first time in 15 years. And after conceding early, Liverpool came back to beat Leicester City by 3-1 at Anfield on Thursday and open a 7-point lead at the top of the Premier League. Leicester took a shock 6-minute lead through Jordan Ayew, but lived a charmed life until Cody Gakpo equalised on the stroke of half-time. After the break, Liverpool came out strong and quickly took the lead in the 49th minute, and thanks to Curtin Jones. Mohamed Salah then sealed the victory with an excellent goal in the 82nd minute. The victory stretched Liverpool's unbeaten run in the league to 13 games and kept them at the top of the standings with 14 points in hand. Staying on soccer, Manchester United's captain Bruno Fernandes was sent off as the side went down 2-0 at Wolverhampton Wanderers on Thursday. Now, this is the 4th defeat in their last 5 Premier League games. Fernandes earned a second yellow card 2 minutes after the interval and Boxing Day fog swirling at Molino. United's gloom has deepened as Matthias Cunha scored direct from a corner. It was an embarrassing moment for United keeper Andre Onana as they languish in the bottom half of the table. Victory lifted Wolves out of the bottom 3 into 17th place with 15 points from 18 games, while Hubin Amorim's United ended with the day in 14th place, having 22 points in hand. Now, India has announced a 7-day period of national mourning as a mark of respect to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday night at the age of 92. Visuals from Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the national flag is being flown at half-mast, following the demise of former Prime Minister are there right on your screens. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from the country and the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.